welcome. This is Health Hacks with Mark L. White. My name is Rusty Humphreys, and over there is Mark L. White, and also he's got a great guest today. Mark, who do we have here today? And she's very exciting, isn't she? She's got I was looking at her website just a little while ago, and Dr. Benson, you got a lot going on.
Sure do.
Yeah, we have Dr. Robyn Benson. I met her for the first time about, 5 hours ago?
Yes. Well, I actually remember meeting you last August briefly in San Diego at the Mindshare
That's
event.
Right. Mindshare. And it was funny. I was supposed to actually meet her 6 hours ago, but it took her four
Uber drives to get here. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. Why was it so hard to get there?
Can you believe it? One of the Uber drivers got a flat tire. The third one after that couldn't find me behind the tow truck and took me to another destination. And the first one said, you know what? You're going to this place in Florida that I don't go to. And I'm like, well, why did you pick me up? So, you know what? We get to practice resiliency, right? Like how to stay present in the moment when things are just not under your control. Darn it. Yeah. I like being in control sometimes in my life, most of the time.
It's knowing what you have control over and accepting what you don't have control over. So.
You know, in this area of regenerative medicine, you get to expand into the possibilities of how you can turn degeneration into regeneration, right? You get to create new healthy cells, healthy tissue. You get to turn back the clock 10, 20 years when it comes to facial rejuvenation and hair restoration, sexual rejuvenation. That's what we're going to get to here, right?
We love talking about sex here in South Florida.
Yep.
So Dr. Benson's from Santa Fe, New Mexico. And just tell me a little bit about yourself. How'd you get into this and what do you practice?
Okay. So I'm a doctor of oriental medicine. I've been practicing for 26 years. And I built a center 14 years ago called Santa Fe Soul Center for Optimal Health, 4,000 square feet. We have a whole room devoted to brain optimization and body regeneration. We have many very talented doctors and practitioners who help our patients with acute and chronic conditions. You name it, we work with babies, we work with people all the way into the end of their life. So we are about being health detectives, trying to get to the root cause. What is going on? And in my particular evolution in my practice, the last 5 years, I've been very dedicated to offering regenerative medicine practices.
Now, when you say oriental medicine versus like traditional Western, you get sick, you take this pill, the symptoms go away. How does it differ? And why did you decide, you know what, I'm going to choose oriental medicine? That's quite the niche.
You know, Chinese medicine is the oldest continuous form of medicine on the planet. And early on, I knew that, the way I looked at kind of allopathic medicine was just, very often it's like giving a prescription, you get 7 or 8 minutes with your patient and you're on to the next patient. And that was clearly not what I sense is true health and wellness, getting people back to their optimal state. So I was only 23 when I started to study Chinese medicine. My undergraduate degree at the University of Virginia was in sports medicine. So I knew I was into health. I wanted to work with, healthy people and people that are really proactive, that really care to get well. They realize that they're in control of their lives, right? We're as doctors, we're facilitators. We can bring our expertise, but ultimately they have to do their work, right? Mm-hmm. They have to make those lifestyle changes that are so necessary for, again, to reverse disease processes. There's lots of them out there in today's world.
I once heard, and I don't know, you probably can comment more about this, that in Asia and China, you go to see the doctor to keep you healthy. And in fact, if you get sick, the doctor hasn't done their job. Have you heard that before? Is there truth to that?
Well, yeah, the doctors, I studied in China as well and got very intimate with working with the patients and in the hospitals and going into the homes and going into the herbal fields. And it's true that if it's a whole different system there, but it's looking at all of life in terms of what you're eating. You're not diagnosed with diabetes. You're looking at, you can have like 25 patients with diabetes, but there's different syndromes. It might be a kidney pattern that's going on in the body, a liver pattern. It might be there's too much wind. I mean, they use the elements. So yeah, the doctor is there to help patients to stay well, to let you realize what's underfunctioning, what's deficient, what's excess in your system.
Okay, just because it's in China and it sounds cool, does it mean it's any better though?
In China?
Yeah.
No, Chinese medicine in China? Is that what you're asking?
I'm asking, is Chinese medicine any better than it is Western medicine? I mean, we got a lot of, people in America that,
yes,
are healthy.
I would have to say absolutely. I feel, the Chinese make up a fourth of the world population. And again, the oldest continuous form of medicine it's an earth-based medicine. It's about getting back to nature, about, we are more bioidentical to the earth, right? We are just like the earth. And we need to look at health and well-being about getting back to our original nature. I mean, just like proper hydration and mineralization and eating foods that Mother Nature provides. Chinese medicine's about that. Herbs, there's over 50,000 medicinal herbs in China alone. It's probably that's a small count, really. And they're treating every known disease with Chinese herbs. Wow. And acupuncture. In Chinese medicine is predominantly, the history of Chinese medicine is mostly herbology. Mm-hmm. It's only in the last maybe 50 years that acupuncture has developed. But in this country, it started in the 1970s when a guy from the New York Times was in China. He had acute appendicitis. Uh-huh. I don't know if you heard the story. Mm-mm. And he ended up having to have emergency surgery. And it was through acupuncture, getting the acupuncture anesthesia. And that's how acupuncture became known to the Western world. So to answer your question, is it better? I just think why it's been so effective, not just in China, but globally, and why it's one of the most commonly used forms of medicine is because of its rich history. Again, because it's not about just giving you chemicals. Uh-huh. It's about integrating you, helping you make better choices in your life to reverse an acute or chronic condition.
Do you think traditional Western medicine and big pharma, do you think they feel threatened by Chinese medicine and what you're doing?
I would have to say that they don't think it works and just look down upon it. I call it the condescending nod. When I told a lot of my medical doctor friends that I was studying Chinese medicine, they're like, do you think it really works? I'm like, the oldest continuous form of medicine, yes, absolutely, it does work.
It's funny because I think in the United States, we have the highest levels of obesity. We have, in the Western worlds, we have the highest levels of illnesses, chronic illnesses. And I don't think Western medicine solves anything. I think they just treat a lot of symptoms. So
just a Band-Aid effect in so many ways, not getting to get the root cause. It's really essential. But fortunately, there's been this massive growth in functional medicine, integrative medicine. So in terms of competition, it's really being patient directed. Patients don't want to just get put on drugs and have a doctor just say, here, this is what you need to take for your depression. This is what you need to take for your erectile dysfunction. Patients care there's certain people that they just want the quick fix, but that's not fixing it because very often then you're needing the second drug and the third drug and the fourth drug, and then your body is getting the next disease diagnosis. So that's, to me, not healing. Chinese medicine is a whole system that's helping your body get back to that balance that it wants, that equilibrium, that homeostasis. That's the word I'm looking for.
Now, you've been doing this now for 26 years.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your practice. When you and I first spoke, it sounds like you have a very unique practice in Santa Fe.
I sure do. So I do acupuncture, herbology. We treat just about everything you can imagine that you would go to a doctor for. And so after 13 years, I had this vision that I wanted to open up a health center. And, we built it from the ground up in a place that when people walk in, You're welcomed by a prayer wall that represents unity and diversity.
Wow.
It represents all healing traditions. The best healing in the planet really is not what's been developed in Western medicine over the last 200 years. I am so grateful for emergency medicine. I just want to point that out. But it's looking at, again, getting back to the earth and Mother Nature and herbs and natural vitamins and minerals and helping our bodies to, get back to wellness. So I'm forever learning, so when I built this center, I just wanted to create a place where people walk in, they don't feel like they're going into a sterile environment, that they're coming home, so to speak, and they're coming into a living room environment, not one that, that makes them feel like welcome for who they are in the world, that we meet our patients, getting to know them, asking their name, getting to know their history. Chinese medicine, there's so much that goes into an initial evaluation. We actually touch the body, we palpate, we find out if the liver feels like it's a little swollen, if the kidney function is under functioning. We look at your tongue and take your pulses. So we're getting an overview of what's going on. So 26 years later, what is just most exciting for me now is how I can help people grow younger, live healthier, more joyous lives, how they can reverse whether it is an ADD problem or it's a digestive problem or it's an anxiety problem. Like what is the scenario? What's going on in the body that's creating this? And what needs to be done, but it's never just one thing. So it's never just acupuncture, right? We always do diet modification with almost every single patient. And then we say, based on what we're seeing, these are the different modalities. We offer at least 40 different modalities at our center.
So what's the biggest health hack, for example, for somebody like me who has ADD, my mind's going a million miles a minute. And when I talk to doctors over here, they say, Mark, take Adderall and that's going to fix everything. But that scares me.
Yeah. Well, it's very, very common. The 30% of it's not just in our teenagers, it's adults. I mean, it's amazing. We look at the whole spectrum. We look at the food connection with ADD, too much sugar, too much processed foods. We look at low-grade infections that are going on in the body. I mean, so many people have yeast overgrowth and they have crazy parasites that are growing in their bodies. So we want to identify what those are. But the gut connection and brain connection completely connected. So if you have high levels of yeast and you have blastocystis hominis and you have worms and all that jazz, I mean, that's a formula for mental decline and cognitive decline, not just ADD. We look at geopathic stress. It's huge, right? It's everywhere. 5G now. So electromagnetic pollution is interfering with our nervous system. It's affecting the way we think, and our sleep quality has gone way down. So we educate our patients on EMF hygiene. Like not
EMF.
Are you talking about using your cell phone too much? Putting your cell phone in your head? Is that what you're talking about?
And yes, that's electromagnetic pollution. All this indoor pollutions, all the lights. Being in a car, there's a lot of electromagnetic pollution. You can buy Gauss meters, and it's crazy. We're like literally plugged in 24/7. Our body, again, bioidentical to the earth, we are not designed for being in these artificial environments 24/7, and we don't get outside enough. So, geopathic stress with our ADD patients to educate them on good hygiene, how to have a healthy relationship with technology. We're not going to live without it. Hormones are huge too.
So tell me about optimizing hormones. I know that's something that you're passionate about. It's something that a lot of our doctors do, but how does optimizing hormones fit in with the whole Chinese medicine?
Hormones are so important. So we do lots of diagnostic tests to find out if somebody has a thyroid hypofunction or hyperfunction. We want to look at the adrenals. But then there's also the sex hormones. So we want to look at testosterone, and we want to look at estrogen and progesterone, and then all the neurotransmitters too. So there's a cascade of hormonal actions going on in our body all the time. So we need to find out what's deficient and what's excess. That's really key. So in Chinese medicine, we have a lot of great herbs. I mean, I can just treat hormone imbalances with Chinese herbal formulas based on the syndrome that's presenting. So like a woman who has hot flashes, that's usually a yin deficient time. That's a hot time. So we work with yin supporting herbs in formulas. And or I prescribe bioidentical hormones. So it depends on the patient.
Wow, that's super interesting. Now you're talking also about brain optimization. Is that done with hormones, or do you have some other hack that we need to know about?
Oh my goodness, we have so much for brain. We love TMS, transient magnetic, because I've got a huge technology side of me. I have probably like $500,000 worth
techno geek.
of health technology. So for the brain, I look in terms of technology. I look at the transient magnetic stimulation, which is really good actually for depression and also obsessive compulsive disorder. We work with PMF, pulse electromagnetic field technology, is excellent because it's basically mimicking the Earth frequencies. Again, when you think about the Earth frequencies being at like 7 to, let's say, an average of 11 hertz. That's a measurement. And a cell phone is about 900 megahertz. So PMF there's a lot of home health units. We work with one called the IMRS, and it basically helps to get the sympathetic and parasympathetic balance. It's parasympathetic, so it helps to get that brain from overthinking, overfeeling, being overstimulated.
This is the electric pulses you put on the brain?
This is a pulse electromagnetic field mat that we have our patients. Every patient that gets acupuncture gets the pulse electromagnetic field. Acupuncture is amazing. I mean, there's never a patient that gets off the table and says, "Oh my God, I feel more stress afterwards." I mean, that's what's so awesome about Chinese medicine is it really helps to calm the nervous system, and it increases your white blood cells. It helps under functioning.
Rusty, have you ever gotten acupuncture before?
I have. I actually like it. There's a lot of people that I've tell about them, and they say, "Oh, I don't want needles. That's going to hurt." Acupuncture does not hurt, does it? It's not the same thing as getting jammed with a bunch of needles.
It scares me, needles.
Have you done it, Mark?
I've done tapping, which I think
I always have needles with me. I have to see if I can.
Maybe you can stick me with a needle.
Yeah, over 100,000 people easily in my career, and everywhere I go, I get to practice my medicine. It's because we have these meridian systems all over our body, and it's just amazing if you could just calm the system down, how the body will start to heal, right? And very often in today's world, people are just stressed all the time that they're not sleeping, they're waking up exhausted. So we've got some great easy.
Is it about electricity? Is that what it's about?
I could tell you something. I can tell you something for me is that the day I got my iPhone was the day I stopped sleeping well, like literally to the day.
Well, healing is voltage. Healing is voltage. Like in Tesla, we learned so much. I'm a Tesla freak. I love everything Tesla. But we learned that we could have free healing. We wouldn't need any of this artificial frequencies. But when our electric system of our body is healthy, it takes a healthy electrical system to have a healthy biological system. To turn on the chemical nature and our biological nature, we need a healthy electrical system. And so what we find is that so many of our patients are, literally wired and tired. Their electrical system, they're frazzled all the time. So if we can just restore a healthy system, and a lot of that's just simple hydration. Just a lot of people are just running around so fast. They don't drink enough water. They don't get enough sodium, potassium, and magnesium and zinc. I see these deficient in so many of my patients. The vitamin C and vitamin D levels are really low. So in terms of having a healthy electrical system, it requires good food, hydration, good sleep, it's just like every single cell in our body is like a battery, right? So when we're exhausted, there's an epidemic of fatigue in the world. There's an epidemic of pain. There's an epidemic of sleep problems. So by just simply restoring the electrical system of the body, getting to the point where people are absorbing the good nutrients, or absorbing the goodness of life, and detoxing, because we're stuck. A lot of people are, a third of this country is overweight right now, right? They're not detoxing. They're not getting the bad guys out. So it's like this, not just the brain on fire, but the gut's on fire, and the cardiovascular system is compromised. So it's just simple things very often.
Why do you think that not enough people in the U.S. especially know about it? I mean, again, the high obesity rates. Most people can't even agree what good food is.
It's so simple. I always just tell my patients, keep it simple. Keep it simple, sweetie, right? KISS. Just shop the perimeters. So, and always choose, you really want to spend the extra money to get organic, GMO-free. You just get away from all the pesticides and the cheaper versions and all the crap that's on our food. So just shop the perimeters and get, stay away from, when you think about, how our animals are raised, it's scary, the chickens. So go the extra mile and get the grass fed, butter and meat products, because all those hormones that are in everything else, it's affecting our bodies. So that's why, it's a part of the diabesity issue. Most of it is the quality of food, the poor quality of food that people are putting in their bodies that are affecting their hormones. So then they can't lose weight, and then they can't sleep. So it's all of this. It's a crazy world out there. This is why I pioneered, just not kidding, part of my 26-year history. In 2012, I was asked a question, what is your most important message, Dr. Benson? And I was doing this big speaker author contest, and I was doing a video, and I thought, what came out of me was like self-care. Like everyone needs to say yes to their own self-care revolution, and families and parents need to say yes. We are practicing self-care in this household. We're going to have our kids have to give us their phones at 8:00 at night, so they have at least an hour or two away from all that blue radiation, right? The blue light radiation. Blue light radiation, exactly. And self-care is about proper hydration, not with sodas and crappy juices. It's about having meditation and downtime. Like so many of us are just going so fast. We don't take time to be mindful and to get outside and just walk barefoot if you can. Like that. This is really what it's going to require in today's world. Is this extreme self-care lifestyle. And for all of my patients, so most of, I'm working mostly from 40 to 70-year-olds that are really care about how they're aging. We don't want to, the cancer statistics are so high. The cardiovascular heart disease, it's off the charts, and Alzheimer's and cognitive decline is happening in younger and younger generations. So this is how we work with our patients. So it's not just come and get your P shot and your facelift and your O shot. It's like, this is the regenerative lifestyle that is going to allow you to not only extend your life, but most importantly, to help you feel good while you're here on this planet.
Let's talk a little bit about that. Regenerative health, regenerative cells. I've heard so much about it, and you're on the forefront of that. You've been doing that now for about 5 years. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Tell me about that.
Well, it's really, regenerative medicine is the fastest area of any form of medicine. It's the fastest growing area because people are into turning the care to turn degenerative processes that are going on in their body into regeneration. So I love that word, to regenerate, to grow, to renew, to restore, to give people a second chance. Like if you have an early diagnosis of cognitive decline, or you're heading towards Alzheimer's, okay, so what can you've got major degeneration. That means there's inflammation going on in your brain, but where is it really stemming from? We got to look at we got to look at the gut. We have to look at the whole body. So regenerative medicine is a new beginning, a fresh start, helping people to reclaim their health with whatever, situation happens to be going on.
I think there's a lot of controversy out there with stem cells. When you talk about regenerative health and you mentioned stem cells, some people think we're talking about fetuses, and some people, like the mainstream, don't know how stem cells are actually helping people.
It's probably the most important area of confusion. Let's just say that. And regenerative medicine, a lot of people, when they think about that, that's the first thing they think about is stem cells, right? Without thinking about, platelet-rich plasma and all these ways that we can look to our own brilliance, the genius of our body. So we think about with platelet-rich plasma, we take the blood of our patients and we spin it in an FDA-approved centrifuge, and we extract the platelet-rich plasma part of the blood, and the platelet. There's a platelet poor plasma too that we can use, and then we inject that into joints, into the face, into the penis for ED, and also intravaginally for women with any type of sexual dysfunction or so many women have difficulty with not being able to hold their urine. So that
incontinence.
Yeah. So some people, there's that word, but it's like, I have to wear a pad just to go work out. They don't want that. So looking towards that. So that's the kind of regenerative medicine that we practice. So something that's easy to extract. When it comes to stem cells, there's lots of options. You can actually get your own stem cells harvested from your fat or from your bone marrow.
The FDA doesn't like that, though.
No, that's autologous. And you know what? That's also that's from your own nature.
Yeah.
And how can the FDA come down on your own stem cells?
Yeah, but that sounds like it really hurts, though. Does that one really hurt?
It does. It can be uncomfortable, depending on where they're extracting it. Sometimes they can take it from the knee or from the hip. But I think the wave that I'm really seeing is the use of umbilical cord cells. That's where a lot of doctors are moving in that direction. The labs out there have to be FDA approved, and there's tons of when we think about one sample, they're usually getting the placenta from a baby like within 10 or 15 minutes of birth. And there's hundreds of tests that have to be done on that tissue before it's used for biomedical regenerative conditions. So I tend to be more favorable towards that, especially with older clients, rather than patients that have, let's say, COPD, have lung issues, have joint issues for that matter. When you're using their own stem cells, you might not get you're not getting those youthful proliferation that you're going to get with the mesenchymal stem cells, which are proliferative.
I actually read that older people are now taking blood from younger people and basically infusing themselves with that. Have you heard about that before?
God only knows what's happening next, but I do know the science behind the progenitor, the MSC, the mesenchymal stem cells, and I feel like that's safe. And if a patient is younger, I think doing the autologous is a great way to go.
Autologous means
from your stem cells from your own body.
And then people are now banking stem cells too, which I think is interesting.
I think banking stem cells is a really good idea. Fantastic idea.
Great. So what's next? Like, if you're going to look over the next 5 years, what do you see on the horizon as being a leader in this industry?
Well, I think we're going to continue to see more advanced research on the use of stem cells and all these different possibilities for people. And I think the movement towards really root cause, like even if you're working with stem cells and you're doing PRP, still going to the root cause and getting the gut. Everybody working on their healthy microbiome of their gut. And the brain science that's coming out too is really good. And I think there's going to be a movement, so much not so. And then I know there's new technologies and there's new drugs, new all those things happening. But I think there's also this huge movement back to nature, back to like, oh my gosh, Mother Nature has 50,000 medicinal herbs around the world. We're going to go back to simplifying rather than making it so difficult.
I think people forget that earth and plants, that's what's healed us for what, hundreds of millions of years.
Exactly.
And people forget, and we try to overdo everything, overdo our food, overprocess.
Yeah, and when you think about drugs and all the chemicals that we're already exposed to just in the air that we breathe, we need to bring the goodness of Mother Nature that's identical to our own inner world very often with certain herbs and vegetables and fruits. And when we think about water too, like a high water content diet, that's one of the best things you can do for your brain, for your heart, for your energy that you want to have.
I love it. Getting back to the roots. Dr. Benson, I really appreciate this time. It was so nice actually having you come out here to sunny Miami.
It's a delight to be here and to see all that you're doing with Gainswave. And I'm very excited that I get to offer this to my patients.
No, we're welcome to have you on board. Thank you so much.
If you want to find out more about health hacks with Mark L. White, go to the website, marklwhite.com. You want to find out more about Dr. Benson, it's the website is there. It's robynbenson.com. Is that correct?
Robyn Benson, that's ROBYN, Benson.com.
All right. Thank you very much.
SON. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much for watching. This is Health Hacks with Mark White.